March 11, 2011. An earthquake measuring 9 on the Richter scale and a subsequent tsunami caused the biggest nuclear accident since Chernobyl. Gigantic waves, houses, planes, and vehicles swept away, damage to the nuclear power plant. The water, in just a matter of time, overcame the containment walls of the Fukushima nuclear power plant and immediately shut down the entire electrical system, thus disabling the cooling system of the plant's reactors. Although most of the radiation leaks were directed into the sea, the authorities have made public that the decontamination of the site could take until 2051. However, this day was not only enough to be one of the most catastrophic in history, but also one of the most mysterious and enigmatic in the history of ufology. Something strange appeared over the skies of Fukushima, strange lights flying smoothly and harmoniously overhead. These sighted lights seemed to be in formation and barely moving, as if they were inspecting and observing in detail whatever was going on. Japan, without a doubt, has been one of the most frequented spots by UFOs throughout the history of mankind. Is there perhaps a connection between these strange objects and Fukushima? Could the sightings be something as mundane as helicopters surveying the area? Or were they really otherworldly beings taking a close look at our struggling nuclear power plants? Mankind has always looked to the skies for meaning, but as our yearning for knowledge has reached farther into the depths of space, the search becomes for the answer of the question, are we alone? If you seek the truth, like, subscribe, click the bell icon, join us. This is what the world needs. This is disclosure. Japan is undoubtedly one of the most mysterious and fascinating countries in the world. Surprising stories, occult events, and legends have deeply marked the Japanese culture. From ghosts of other times, spirits and mythological animals, to historical records of ancient UFOs that have flown over its skies. In 1803, the people living in Hitachi no Kuni observed an extremely strange circular object descending over their beaches. At that moment, each one of them froze in fear, only to be stunned by what emerged from inside the craft, the most beautiful woman they had ever met. According to the documents that exist about the event of this time, the woman was not more than 20 years old, with red hair, white complexion, and a beautiful dress. Time at this moment, according to the records, seemed to stop for several minutes. The strange woman began to communicate, but no one could understand her incomprehensible language. The case of the beautiful woman who descended from a flying saucer was christened as the first UFO sighting in Japan. Now, in our present time, we are still witnessing a kind of relationship between these strange flying objects and Japanese places, a relationship that the government is already deeply investigating. In this case, the great Fukushima power plant was the protagonist of the reception of strange beings, which inexplicably hovered unmistakably for minutes, static, and performing movements that no current aircraft can achieve. Were the UFOs watching our nuclear capability, or perhaps trying to save us from something? After all, we still don't know, but what we do know is that they were there, witnessing the nuclear power plant catastrophe. Japan became one of the places with more UFO sightings in recent times, to such an extent that in the year 2021, an institute focused on the investigation of UFO phenomena was created, since according to ufologists and scientists, extraterrestrial visits with interests in nuclear facilities have increased exponentially. Such incidents have been recorded at the Fukushima nuclear power plant since the 1970s, when a mysterious luminous flying object was reported in the vicinity of Mount Sengan-mori, which from that moment on caused a great stir among the population. Commenting on the reason behind the number of reports from local witnesses in the past, Japan's Institute for UFO Research suggested that Sengan-mori Mountain may be attracting such craft because of its pyramid-like shape, and that the surrounding areas have strong magnetic fields so strong that they are capable of interfering with the use of compasses. Even as the world continues to be deeply concerned about the radioactive leaks from the Fukushima nuclear power plant, an extraordinary event occurred in the skies over the Asian country that took each and every one of its inhabitants by surprise. After so many missing people and the great catastrophe left by the tsunami, what else could happen? On this occasion, UFOs approached the evacuated nuclear power plant, which was in alarm due to dangerous radiation leaks. Why now? Perhaps they were helping to safeguard the plant. What is certain is that the strange flying objects were recorded emitting strange lights as they were flying in a strange formation, only to come together and be lost in a single light. What is the mysterious connection between UFOs and the Fukushima nuclear power plant? On April 1st of this same year, Japan went on alert after seeing an unidentified flying object that was making a large ring of light around itself as it flew over the skies of the country. What happened was recorded in a video that was uploaded to social networks. It all happened precisely in Tokyo, a place where it is not the first time that strange phenomena have been reported flying over the nation. A few weeks ago, a phenomenon very similar to the UFO was also seen chasing a plane carrying passengers. What are the intentions of these strange objects? We certainly don't know, but conspiracy theorist Scott C. Waring made reference to each of the events that had occurred in recent times, and in particular, the last two events that had been experienced, and said that, in recent times, Japan has been organizing certain encounters with extraterrestrial craft on a continuous basis, especially in two very specific places, at Mount Fuji and at the Fukushima nuclear reactor. Such UFOs have been seen frequently in Japan, but most often near Mount Fuji and near the Fukushima nuclear reactor. So, extraterrestrials have an extreme interest in Japan, the specialist said. The video of the sighting lasted about 3 minutes, where it can be seen that the UFOs are recorded from the ground, and once located, as if they had noticed it, began to move through a large flash of light, and after a few minutes, both the light and the strange objects disappeared. As in the United States, the UFO issue is gaining more attention, particularly as far as Japanese security is concerned. But what does the Japanese government do in the face of each of these mysterious events? Although other governments have not taken a strong stand on UFOs, the government of Japan and its armed forces have done so by training each of their pilots in the sighting of strange flying objects. Since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, the number of people claiming to have witnessed UFO sightings has been on the rise, and even more so after the images revealed by the Pentagon in 2020 and its confirmation of the unexplained nature of these strange objects. In response, the then Japanese Defense Minister Kono Taro drafted and announced protocols for his armed forces in case of encountering UFOs on September 14, 2020, which consisted of documenting the facts and their subsequent investigations. However, these protocols are not intended to confront UFOs, but rather to investigate them. Each of the procedures is within the legal framework for confronting any type of invasion of the nation's airspace. In the case of an invasion of airspace by a foreign aircraft, pilots are supposed to issue warnings and order the foreign aircraft to leave Japan's territory. If the foreign aircraft conducts military operations against Japan, they will be ordered to conduct a defense operation against the foreign aircraft. However, Japan's current legal framework and defense capabilities are not prepared for intrusions into airspace by UFOs. Is this a coincidence, or is it part of one of the government's ways of hiding the unexplained? The evidence is there, and the events have remained in the memory of the world's population. UFOs seem to be increasingly interested in the world's nuclear power plants, flying over them and exploring them closely. And the Japanese government, despite hiding it, seems to be aware of it. Still, both the Japanese Ministry of Defense and the Pentagon are expected to continue gathering UFO information to deal with possible simultaneous arrivals of countless UFOs and a subsequent hypothetical military emergency caused by extraterrestrials. In May, a former U.S. Defense Department official in charge of military intelligence operations made headlines when he said the mysterious craft are real, and not only that, but more and more classified documents are coming to light that prove the inexplicability of all that has happened. If Fukushima is like many other hotspots in the world that seem to garner the attention of otherworldly visitors, then perhaps it's time that as a species, we all focus our efforts to learn more rather than deny. With its rich culture and history, perhaps the interest in Japan is as an anthropological curiosity. Maybe they're trying to learn more about us, as we should about them. Though with this curiosity may come hesitation and even concern. If what's attracting them are the technological misuses and mistakes of things like nuclear power and weaponry, perhaps disclosure can prepare us for the inevitable first contact. What do you think? Drop a comment below and let us know.